Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming. I know we're still looking for the room to be full. I think there's still a lot of traffic with the closure of 465, so we'll have more people milling in. But we're going to go ahead and get started. I am really excited about our plenary session this morning, and I think it'll kind of set the stage for the whole day. And it'll certainly tell a story that I think will be very impactful, that hopefully you'll walk away from. And for those of you that work in this field, this will be a nice reminder of why we have chosen to stay in this very difficult field. And for those of you who are self-advocates, you're going to leave and know that you need to dream big and that anything you dream is absolutely possible to achieve. So we're very excited to have everybody here, very excited again for our session. I'm going to introduce them, and I'm going to introduce Jamie last. So first is Melissa Keys. She's the legal director for Indiana Disability Rights. She has been a strong advocate for many of our issues, and we really consider Indiana Disability Rights a close partner. So Melissa, thank you for being here today. On the end is Dan Stewart, who probably doesn't need a whole lot of introduction to many of us in this room. He's the retired CEO of Achieva in Richmond. He has been a mentor of mine since I stepped foot in the ARC 20 years ago. And he is a man who, is very committed to our issues, very committed to our self-advocates. And when he met Jamie several years ago, he took her in and, again, made sure that she was dreaming big and wanted to do everything possible to make sure that she was achieving those dreams. And then in the middle, we have Jamie, who really is indescribable because I don't even know where to start. She is a remarkable young woman who has overcome so many tragedies in her life. And again, because of her perseverance, because of her recognizing what her talents and skills are, knew what she wanted to do and made sure she never gave up. And so, Jamie, we appreciate you sharing your story with us and us being able to allow everybody to hear and learn from you. She is a recent graduate of the Erskine Green Training Institute, and that's not even the best thing. So there's just so many things for her to be proud of. I'm going to invite Jill Smith up to the stage. She's going to facilitate us in the discussion. Jill is part of our advocacy network team and has been with the ARC for how long now, Jill? Okay, so since 2009, so that's 9 years. It's a little bit of math this morning. So
Sorry,
that's okay. So again, I hope you enjoy this conversation this morning, and it really will be inspiring and a great way to start the day. So thanks again for being here, and I'll turn it over to you, Jill.
Okay. Okay, is this working? Thank you. I will be down on the floor to take questions as we go, but I thought it might be good. Are we starting with Jamie? We're starting with Dan. Dan is going to tell you a little bit about how this all began. If you have questions as we go, if you could just grab my attention, I will come and get your question.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We have an incredible story to tell. And Jamie's experience is really neat. And I wanted to start out with a challenge to all the self-advocates. You heard just a few minutes ago that you can achieve any dream you want to. And Jamie is an incredible example of a person who not only has achieved her dreams and her desires, but she's worked really, really hard. And the challenge to all the self-advocates in the audience today is, you can do this. You know, you find the right person to help you. You've got incredible people like Melissa and the ARC, and this dream can come true for many, many of you. I want to start the story out about 8 years ago. I got a phone call from Adult Protective Services about 9 o'clock at night. And they told me that there was this young lady who was walking the streets of Economy, Indiana, and she was confused and lost. The neighbors saw her, and they had contacted the police and Adult Protective Services, and the neighbors had received information that her father had passed away 3 days prior to this evening at Reed Hospital. He had cancer. So Jamie did not know. Unfortunately, that night, I drove back to Richmond, and we had no alternative but to try and find her a place to live. And I'm going to turn it over to Jamie, and she's going to start her story and tell you where she went and how long she was there. And we're going to kind of go back and forth with questions and kind of her story as to where she is today. So, Jamie, what happened on that cold May 9th?
Well, I recently got graduated from the high school of Hagerstown Junior Senior High School recently, and then it turns out my stepdad had cancer at stage 4, and he was going back and forth to the hospital and stuff. Then eventually they put him in a nursing home. Then they also put me in one. I did not really know what was going on really, but I got put in the nursing home for almost a year or so.
Let me share it with her. A little previous history. Jamie's real mom, 3 years prior to her dad passing away, she also died of cancer. And her original father was someone that we never really been able to find. But it was amazing that her stepdad, not only did he adopt her, but the things that they did together, they fished, they hunted, they had, let's see, the night that I went to the house, we had dogs, cats, and what else?
There were chickens, it could be rabbits. I have a whole own little zoo.
She literally had a zoo. And we didn't know what to do with all of the animals. So there were people that really helped. And we know that the dogs were all taken care of. The cats took care of themselves. And God knows what happened to the chickens. We just don't know. But the story was Jamie moved into Heritage House. And she talked about having to be there for, would you believe, 1 year. We could not get her a CIH waiver. That's kind of a long story, but Judge Colger with the state, or the local judge, stepped up one day and he sent a subpoena to the state. And I will never forget, the subpoena went on a Friday, and Saturday morning I got a phone call at my house, and it said, guess what, Dan Stewart? Jamie got her waiver. Do I have to go to court on Monday? And I said, I don't have anything to do with that, but we're thrilled. So literally that day, the following week, we had a home where Jamie's going to tell you about her first residential experience.
I was living in a supported living house with 2 other housemates. It was pretty good, but I knew it wasn't all what I was expecting, but it was a place to live, and I also got into the show workshop. Then eventually I got me a community job, actually 3.
Wait a minute, don't go that fast.
Okay.
Hang on a second. So we're going to share. Jamie, when she did move into the supported living home, she enrolled at Benchmark. And in the first quarter that she worked at Benchmark in the sheltered workshop, how much money were you taking home every 2 weeks?
About $400.
She was literally out earning the hourly wage of the staff. So we were talking about what else did she want to do. And one day she came up to my office and she said, I want to get a community job. And we said, great. Let's put together a resume and you can go out in the community. And she literally opened her notebook, and what did you have?
And I pulled out my resume, and I guess here.
So we had talked about what do we do, and Jamie said, I'm going to talk to Laura at the workshop, and I'm going to ask if I can have time off in the afternoon. And what did you do?
I got me a job.
No.
I went to the interview. Then they eventually hired me at
I'm going to backtrack. How many places did you go and put resumes?
about 52 places all over Richmond.
How many interviews did you get?
Holy none.
So, Jamie came to my office one day about 2 weeks after we had done the resume deal, and she was crying. And she said, Dan, I can't get anybody to give me an interview, and it's because I have only a certificate of completion from Hagerstown, and nobody will interview me. So Jamie and I got on the phone and we called Mayor Sally Hutton, who was the mayor of Richmond. And Sally was a great advocate for people with disabilities in our program. And she said, Jamie, I want you to come to the council meeting next Wednesday night. So we're going to have Jamie tell you that story. So we show up, and what happened?
And I basically got a job at the Close Pizza King.
At the council meeting, Jamie shared her story. And the council president, Mr. Quinn, was literally crying. And he said to Jamie at the end of her presentation, if you get me your resume tomorrow, I will help you get a job. And what did you do?
I got given my resume, and I said, here you go.
She had it in her notebook. So she gave all 9 council members. The next morning at 9 o'clock, the phone rang at the sheltered workshop, and Jamie got an interview at Pizza King. And they literally hired her on the spot. This was a job that she had for how many years?
About 4 years.
Okay. So then, Jamie came back to us and said, I got the sheltered workshop, I work at Pizza King 20 hours a week. I want to do something else, I want to get another job or volunteer. So where did you go and what did you volunteer and what happened?
I went to the abilities to volunteer. First, I went through the Special Olympics. They had a leadership stuff for the athletes, and one of the people that was over Special Olympics of Richmond, he told me I could do this program, and they told me I had to volunteer for several weeks or so I can be able to be in it. Then he told me about abilities that I can volunteer at.
Abilities is like a small goodwill. It's run by a family who has a young son who has Down syndrome, and it's really a cool thing. So she's now volunteering. She completed the leadership program with Special Olympics, and the owner of Abilities came to her in the middle of about 3 years ago and said, I'd like to
have me take a lot of photos to help them with the Facebook page.
So they literally hired her, and they were paying her to do that. So at one point, Jamie had 3 jobs. She was going to the sheltered workshop 10 to 12 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
She'd come in the morning, then catch the bus. Then she'd go to Pizza King, work her 20 to 25 hours, go volunteer at Abilities, turn around and work at Abilities. And then we want to talk a little bit about Special Olympics. Jamie has some unique skills. I am not computer literate at all, and I cannot tell you the things that she taught me, but what do you do for Special Olympics? And tell them the story of all of the presentations and things you've done.
Well, I did. I helped them with their Facebook page and get more likes on their Facebook page. And what I did, I went out when we do all these events and stuff, like we do all basketball, I take their photos, and doing track and field is like a field day for me, getting all the photos and also being an athlete at the same time. But when I got all done with taking all the photos, I created a video and a PowerPoint of all of the stuff we did throughout the year. And then I became the Athlete of the Year for Area 9. Then I was working hard and helping the athletes and stuff, and enjoying taking photos and hanging out with everybody.
What sports do you participate in?
Well, I do bowling, basketball, track and field. I think about all that. Well, that in that area did softball a little bit. It was pretty fun.
Jamie has made multiple community presentations with her video and her photo albums and everything for Special Olympics. It's pretty amazing. So we go through this whole story, and now she's got her 3 jobs, and one day she comes in my office and she said, I heard about this program in Muncie that the ARC runs. So what do they call that program?
The Erskine Green Training Institute.
So Jamie came and said, I've looked at all the curriculum online and I want to go. So what program did you tell Voc Rehab that you wanted to go into?
I would want to do the hospital and do environmental services, housekeeping for the hospitals.
So we were thrilled. Her VR counselor worked with her. She was accepted in the Erskine Green Institute, and the program she was in is 13 weeks long. So normally when the students go on orientation, there's about a 2 to 3 week training opportunity. And anybody that knows Muncie, you got to learn how to ride the city bus, and you got to learn how to get around. How long did it take you to figure out how to get around Muncie?
It didn't take me too long. About 2 days, pretty much. I figured out where a lot of places was. I was using this game called, a lot of people who are Pokemon Go, that has like Pokestops, that is like, it shows monuments and stuff. It gave me some idea where everything probably was at. I used that to help me navigate the downtown area of Muncie.
She literally figured out, literally in 2 days, with Pokemon stops. It was absolutely amazing. And we got a phone call from one of the staff saying she's actually teaching the other self-advocates how to get around Muncie, which normally takes them 2 to 3 weeks. So her class, which was about 11 or 12 people, they just figured it out in 2 weeks. They had it all. They were ready to go to work. And so Jamie started at the hospital, and it was absolutely remarkable. They have little, like credit card coupon tickets. And I want her to tell the story about how many she got and what they are for. So tell them about the hospital when you do something good.
When you do good, and when the patient calls in and let your supervisors know how good a job you did, they basically give you a meal ticket. So you can buy whatever you want in the cafeteria. They gave me a little call now because I did an excellent job cleaning the room with the patient and also interacting with them, talking to them, doing a good job in the room and stuff.
How many did you earn in 11 weeks?
About 16. 60.
60. Isn't that incredible? This guy, I teased her at one point. I said, I think you're going to gain 10 pounds because all your breakfasts and all your lunches are free. So it was absolutely remarkable. While Jamie was in the nursing home, I want to go backtrack and just tell you a couple other stories because I think they're really important. During the 12 months, Jamie was bored, you can imagine. Here you are, an individual with her skills and abilities and having to stay in a nursing home. And she asked the administrator if she could help out. Jamie was actually feeding residents. And unfortunately, one of the days the State Board of Health walked in and they saw a resident feeding other residents. Well, that was a no-no. The way that was handled was not really well, but so after that, Jamie said, I want to do something. So where did you go what were you doing in the nursing home for almost 11 months? You want to tell them that story?
Yeah, I was basically doing it, playing cards, interacting with the resident, like doing the activities and doing bingo and all of the fun stuff.
She was like the assistant activity director, literally working 8 to 10 hours a day. They went fishing, they went shopping, they went to Walmart, and she was helping all the residents in the nursing home who needed assistance when they would go. So she was like, unfortunately, couldn't get paid for it, but she did that all on her own. And it was kind of absolutely remarkable. But so I want to go back to the Erskine Green Training Institute. At the end of the 11th week, I got a phone call from the human resource manager at Ball Memorial Hospital. And she said, Dan, there's nobody like Jamie. She's better than most of our staff, and we want to hire her the day after graduation. And we said, that's going to be difficult, because those professionals in the audience realize that here she is living in Richmond. She's on a waiver. She's in a supported living home. Jamie was offered a job the day she graduated for, tell them what they offered you.
They offered me a job, a full-time position for the environmental services housekeeping.
How much?
$11 an hour with benefits.
Okay. So, as you know, we had a real challenge, and one of the biggest challenges we had was to move her, to try and find a roommate. And we were very fortunate that her IPMG case manager had a friend in Muncie, and we were able to hook up with a family who has a daughter who attends Hillcroft. And you want to tell that story?
Yeah, they came and introduced me to my current housemate. We got to talk to each other before we moved in, so we know what we liked and what we disliked and all of that fun stuff. We got along pretty well and stuff. Then we eventually got moved in together.
Over the period of the 8 years, the first year that Jamie was in the nursing home, she started earning paychecks. Being on Medicaid and having the $2,000 limit in terms of earnings, we had to open an ARC trust. How much money did you put in the ARC trust in the first 4 years of working in the workshop, abilities, and Pizza King?
About $8,000 or more.
She saved $8,000. So, I will never forget, we still laugh. We sat down and said, okay, Jamie, we found you a place to live. You now have a roommate. We need to put together a budget, and we need to hire a mover. You need to buy furniture. And Jamie goes, okay, I got it all taken care of. So tell them the story. What did you do?
Well, I basically was saving up for a long time till I can work up to that point. If I ever moved out, I got it all prepared, and eventually I got able to move up to Muncie, and I had got to pick out a lot of the furniture and stuff.
She did it all on her own. Literally got on the phone, called the local mover, set up her time, the day to go. Pretty cool. So, the big day, they get to move. And they go to Muncie, and her roommate's there, and the two families, basically Jamie, and I say family, myself, her roommate and her roommate's parents, we met and we set some parameters and rules for the apartment. So you want to talk about that?
Yes. What I basically did, I told her the rules of living together was, I said you can't have your boyfriend come over all the time. I told her it has to be on the weekends and on the holidays. because I don't want to hear anything going on or anything. But I want also help would be realizing she has a responsibility, knowing when and how long he should stay and stuff, and to help him out a little bit because she kind of a little bit needed the support, and I was there trying to guide her, help her out a little bit.
Jamie's been a great mentor for her roommate. The second week on Friday, I get a phone call from Jamie at 10:30 at night. She goes, Dan, he's here. What do I do? So what did you do?
I basically, I said, no, I said, hey, it's time for him to go home. We got work for the next day, and he got to go home now.
It was quite an experience that I can say that the two of them are really getting along well. And by setting the rules, and the two of them have really made things work. And I know that Jamie has done exceptionally well at the hospital. How many times now have you gotten certificates or the little cards since you've been working there? You've been there now 6 months?
Yep, pretty much. I lost count how many months, but I got like 10, and they've been sending me thank you cards to me here lately because they saw how good I was doing with the patients and how I was cleaning, and I made some friends there and stuff.
Cool. So we want to talk about supported decision making, and Melissa will jump in, but I just wanted to mention that we have an incredible judge advocate in Richmond by the name of Gregory A. Horn, and Judge Horn got Jamie's case transferred to him because he had volunteered working with the Indiana Supreme Court Guardianship Program and the Indiana Institute of Disability, and to try and start a supported decision-making program. And certainly the best candidate in America is sitting right here. She needs a big hand, clearly. I mean, I'm telling you. What's incredible about Jamie is she's done almost all of this on her own. She's had a little bit of guidance from us, but her dreams and desires are absolutely amazing. And by getting involved with Erica Costello, and who's sitting down there with Supreme Court Guardianship, and Melissa and Justin Schrock, these guys worked so hard to get the legal things done. So I'm going to kind of turn that over to Melissa, and she'll chat a minute with Jamie and tell you that story about how we actually got her to become the first person in Indiana to regain full capacity.
Good morning. So I am but a small drop in Jamie's incredible story, but it's an important one. And one of the things that I want to start out with is just mentioning the importance of the guardianship relationship that Jamie had. As Dan and Jamie mentioned, she had to be placed into a nursing home, and any other flip of the coin or any other guardian, and she may still be there today. It took not only Jamie's tenacity, but it took Dan's perseverance and interest in helping Jamie live the life that she wanted to live, to make sure that she had opportunities to get out of the nursing home, to get connected with services, and to do whatever she wanted to do in her life. And so that's something to keep in mind. The easy option would have been, she's safe in a nursing home, that's where she's going to stay. But it took a lot of dedication and a lot of time.
I want to mention one thing. We talked about this last night. My wife and I, we wanted to adopt her. And I invited her to my house for a weekend. And we sat down around our dining room table, and we talked about it. And what did you say?
Nah.
She said no. And if you had to hear the whole story, she said no because I can make it. I can do this. And I appreciate that. But then we moved on.
So now I want to talk just very briefly about supported decision making. Show of hands, who has heard of supported decision making before? Awesome. Probably about 6 months ago, probably would have been half that. So that's great. So supported decision making in a nutshell is basically accommodating the decision making process that we all kind of normally go through in general. So the whole process of making a decision, of understanding the issues, understanding the choices and the consequences of those choices, being able to go through the different types of information that's available, coming to an ultimate decision, communicating that decision, and then dealing with the consequences of that decision. All of those different steps can be accommodated through supported decision making. So just as we accommodate walking, or we accommodate mobility with things like walkers or wheelchairs, we accommodate vision with things like glasses and contacts, we can accommodate the decision making process with something like supported decision making. And in essence, what it is the person chooses who they want to have as supporters and how they want that support to be given and in what areas of their life they want support. And so when Jamie and I first started this process, I came up to Richmond and we met for about 2 hours. We went over a lot of things, and one of the interesting things is we're going through and we're kind of talking about the areas where Jamie wants support and what she doesn't want support. I think Dan came in and said, Jamie, just, make me a supporter for all of the different areas. And what did you say?
Okay.
Well, so she got to choose who she wanted. And there were some areas where she said, no, Dan, I don't want you to be supporters in that area. So it's very controlled by the person. It's very flexible and easy to modify. And it's just a really great way to support somebody in helping them understand the choices that they need to make and the different options that they have available, and to be able to make those choices themselves. And so we started this process in February, and it took a lot of time to get the legal paperwork ready and get everything on file. And then June 13th, we went to Richmond Court. We went to the Wayne County Circuit Court 2, and we put on evidence on Jamie's behalf. Jamie testified, Dan testified, and some of other supporters that Jamie had picked also testified on Jamie's behalf. And we were able to show that with supports, with the services that she had and with supported decision making, that she no longer met that definition of incapacitated adult, and we were able to successfully have her guardianship terminated in favor of using supported decision making. And you were able to sign your thing that day. And what was the first thing you did after you got your guardianship terminated?
So went back to work and celebrated and stuff. Then I got another award as well.
Did you sign up for benefits?
Benefits at the hospital.
Yeah. That's very cool. And so far, how has it been working?
Doing pretty good and stuff. And I'm adjusting to life in Muncie and learning the other areas of Muncie. Well, it isn't so safe, because I also listen around town what area is not a good idea to hang out at, get stay where it's safe area. And I've been riding my bike and also walking at the hospital like I always enjoy doing, and helping out and helping my housemate become more than what she is.
A couple other things too to talk about. Jamie, as Melissa said, she picked her own team. It's been about 4.5, 5 months. I've had one phone call from her, one. I usually check in with her about once every week and a half, just to see how things are going. I know that Jamie right now is managing most of her money. She does have a person that helps her pay a couple bills, but what did you just buy?
I bought a new gaming laptop I using it for like a lot of time for my YouTube channel and playing new games and stuff to help support my channel I've been working on.
Tell them about your YouTube channel.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
needs help.
Yeah. What it is, my channel is called Twilight Star All World Gaming. What I do is I do on PlayStation 4, do a live broadcast on the weekends of a gameplay. Like a lot of time it's ended up being like a lot of time it's so online. A lot of my viewers enjoy watching it. So is based on the anime and manga. So then they eventually came out with a whole bunch of different games and stuff. I've been playing a lot of those, but I probably should do a little bit more of different type of RPG games or JRPG. RPG is role-playing games. And when it's JRP is Japanese role-playing games.
What is your goal to get?
Is get 1,000 subscribers, and I basically I hold about how to start one up from somebody from my old house, and they basically helped me get started and said, here are the equipment you need to get so you can be able to. And I had bought me a camera for my PlayStation. Then I had bought me a headset because somebody told me they couldn't hear me that good because the built-in microphone wasn't picking up my voice that much. Then I eventually got me a headset for it. Then eventually when I got me a new laptop that I was working hard for. And I got me a new headset. I got a lot of the setups for so when I do my channel and stuff, I got it all set and ready to be put together, but now I gotta work on a little bit of fun stuff like figuring out how to put it on YouTube or just making videos on it. Right now I'm just in the process messing around with it, see what all the kinks is and what the program, what software is available.
If she gets 1,000 subscribers, she will then be paid by them to do that. So please subscribe.
Yes.
And get your friends to subscribe because she's really trying to do that. Couple other things I want to mention. Since Jamie's been working at the hospital, she has now saved over an additional $3,000 to put back in the ARC Trust. And she's pretty well set up. It's pretty remarkable when you think over the period of the 7 to 8 years that she saved over 11 grand. And she's got a beautiful apartment. She's got an incredible job. Her bosses love her. I know that recently there's a couple of Erskine Green Training Institute students that have been working with her, and she's working with them and tutoring and teaching and sharing, and it's been great. She's such an incredible role model. And to the self-advocates in this room, okay, this question is to you guys. Who wants to become the next supported decision-making self-advocate? Let's see these hands. Okay, give these self-advocates a big hand. You know, you can accomplish what Jamie has done. It's absolutely amazing. She enriched my life. I don't think I ever thought I would see this. And she truly changed all of us that were working with her, and her goals and her dreams and her desires, absolutely amazing. So I want to get to last night. Last night, Jamie was to meet me for dinner at 5:45 in the lobby of the hotel. So I got here about 5:30, 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock. No Jamie. I get on the phone and I call her and she goes, we're on I-70 and we're dead stopped. There was a horrible accident. They never moved for 2 hours. She showed up last night at 5 minutes to 10. So thank God for Kim. Where you at, Kim? Kim's out here somewhere. Kim bought her dinner. And while we were sitting at the table last night, Jamie's done a lot of cool things in Special Olympics. And she's got a boyfriend. And she's, what's his name?
Kevin.
Kevin. So she's sitting there at the table and she's going, She's flashing like, check this out, big boy. And I said, what's that?
Before I left Richmond, about a couple months before he was kind of talking about giving me a ring, but he didn't actually put it into play. Then he decided, I guess, composed to me and gave me the ring.
So the story gets even a little better. He wanted to get her a ring, and Jamie said, that she's talked about wanting to get married. She's talked about maybe wanting to have a family. But Jamie's also said, and I'll say this, she can jump in, she goes, but we're taking our time and we're going slow, which is really kind of cool. But Jamie said, you can go to Walmart and buy me a ring. It's cheaper. Well, her boyfriend's mom got involved and said, no way, and she stepped up to the plate and bought this beautiful sapphire diamond ring. So her mom and dad, his mom and dad stepped up, so she's got a beautiful engagement ring. If you haven't seen it, come up and take a look. But again, here's another piece of her life. Jamie's living the dream. She's earned this really all on her own. Her perseverance, her desire to achieve. I'll never forget that night when I first met her, and we were all in tears, sitting there thinking, what do we do with a 20-year-old who has lost everybody? And here we are today, and one last little story about her. Jamie knew she had family, but she didn't know where they were. Well, this chick's got incredible computer skills. So I want to have her tell you the story about her family and how she found them.
What I basically was doing, I was trying to figure out where they was, but I was looking into my mom's book and see who all was at the funeral and stuff, what names I recognized and now that I knew that was in my family. I basically was typing their names in. I knew possibility someone probably got married and their last name got changed. What I basically was doing, I guess, went down the list, then I found one.
Where does she live?
In Greenwood.
1 mile from my house. So she found her 2 aunts,
Actually,
nieces, 3 aunts.
Yeah.
How many nieces and nephews?
I have I'd say about 3, but I got several older cousins. I got 3 little cousins. A lot of time when I'm there, I usually help take care of the little ones, keep them out of trouble.
They come and visit. They've gone on vacations together. Mm-hmm. Incredible reunion for this family. Mm-hmm. They did not know this was her father's family and mother's family, right?
No, it's only Mom.
Mom's family, okay. And just to be able to find them and think that here they are, they all live in Indiana, and it was just truly amazing. So what a great life story for Jamie. So with that, I know that we're looking at kind of closing up, and are there questions that anybody has of Jamie? We would like to have her answer any questions. Anyone want to stick your hand up? Jill will bring a microphone. There's a question back here.
Hi, Jamie. And thank you so much for sharing your story. My question is how, and I don't even know if it's something you can answer, but I am incredibly struck by your desire, your motivation, your willingness. You are just an incredible woman to have gone through some struggles and yet still say, nope, this isn't enough for me. I need to do more. And I'm just kind of curious if you know what it is within you, or maybe role models that you've had that have helped you become the woman that you are.
Well, it comes from all the years of watching Lion King. I remember with how Simba, he was wanting to be king. And so what happened to him, we all know what happened to Simba and his father in Scar. But what happened to him, that he lost his father, then he was like basically banished from the Pride Lands. Then he came to Timon and Pumbaa, learned the Hakuna Matata philosophy, and one day Rafiki came back. It's time to take your place in the circle of life. And it's kind of a little bit gave me some idea. You gotta find your own place in the circle of life. You gotta find a spot where you fit in, and also you gotta realize sometimes you gotta take. Be able to realize what you gotta do when it's time. Like when Simba decided, when he realized it's time for him to go back to Pride Walk and take his place as the king of the Pride Lands. And I remember what Mufasa said to Simba, remember who you are. You are my son. You're one true king. And also what Mufasa said to Simba when he was growing up. He said, whenever you feel alone, just remember, the great kings of the past looked down on us from those stars. And I will be there to guide you. And basically, the whole circle of life, how they rest against it, was really pretty inspiring. I watched like all the movies, and even the Lion Guard, which is part of the Lion King franchise with Disney and stuff. I learned a lot from Mufasa, even though it's maybe going to be a tough road. Bad thing happens, but you gotta look beyond what you see. And basically, what Rafiki said, you got two choices. You can look beyond. You can do it. You can stay where you are, or you can run from it or learn from it.
Any other questions?
I think we are out of time
There's one there,
right
real
now.
quick.
I have to turn it back over to Kim.
I'm not bringing my paper up because I wouldn't be able to read it anyway through my tears. So, first, Jamie, thank you again for sharing your story with us. And I want to introduce Erica Costello, who is the staff attorney for the, let me see if I get this right, for the Adult Guardianship Office for the Indiana Office of Court Services. Is that right? Yes. Okay, good. Two other people who played an important role in the legal part of Jamie's story is Don Adams, who is the executive director of Indiana Disability Rights, and Justin Schrock, who is a staff attorney for Indiana Disability Rights. A couple years ago, the ARC created an executive directors award that it was really up to us to recognize an individual or a group of people who were doing outstanding things, making a difference, making a mark. And as we were kind of talking about that this year, there was no competition as to who we thought deserved the Executive Directors Award. So to all of you, thank you for everything you've done. We're going to give an Executive Directors Award to all of you, and please take it back to Justin and Don as well. We just appreciate so much somebody who, again, Jamie's story could have ended up very, very different if it wasn't for everybody circling around her, listening to her, and allowing her to have that strong voice that she had within her. Dan, thank you, because again, her story could have been very different if that call would have gone to somebody else. And we can't wait to see what happens next for you, Jamie. And last night when she was showing off her ring, one of the reasons that she shared with me that she was going slow is that she needed her fiance to kind of get his ducks in a row. So she is setting goals for him of things that he needs to do before she will marry him. And so she is not only being driven herself, but she's also setting the standards for everybody around her. And again, Jamie, we appreciate it all so much. And again, thank you for being our inspiration and sharing your story. So thank you. Very deserving. Very deserving.
All for you, babe.
slow too, so.
You gotta train those men first, right?
Yes. But I always end up pulling my all of it.
Want me to slouch?
You're perfect. And you'll have better pictures. So
I will send them. I
that
heard
would
from
be
Erica,
great.
so I'll send them.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.